those up through 6 March. This letter was telling me about Vince and his mother coming up. And about 1 week ago, I got the letter telling me that Vince had already left, Miss Canals was still there. So far, I haven't gotten the letter telling me Mrs. Canals has gone home, and so I'll have to wait until the next installment, I guess. It all gets here, but I think what happens is that as we move around out here, they have our tentative schedule, which changes little by little. So the mail probably from San Francisco, say that sent to Yokosuka, and they hold at Yokosuka until we come back or get into the area where they send a cod. A cod is which I know you don't know the meaning of, is usually an S2F, which is a type plane that bill flies. It's adapted for transporting any type of parts, or it carries people also, and they use it to come from the beach to the aircraft carrier. They bring our mail whenever we get an opportunity to be close enough to shore where they can come out to us. This is a way we get it, aside from getting off of another ship when at sea. Usually they'll make one trip a week or 2 trips a week if we're close in, and then we pick up the remainder when we go in. However, the past couple of times we've been out, we haven't gotten anything all week. This is not a morale builder, which I imagine you know. Also, something has come up, and one of the reasons you aren't getting your mail right now, I have a couple letters sitting here for you. But, well, I missed the mail when they took it out the other night. I came back and I just forgot to mail the darn thing. I'm sorry. But I think they had 2 pickups while we were in Kobe. One was picked up later announced, and the other was 3 hours before departure. Of course, all of us returned at the last minute and then got set to go, and so I happened to miss that. This week now, I don't know of any pickups, and we'll be out, well, not just this week, it'll be about 11 days that we're out all told. So I imagine they will pick up, but nothing's been announced so far, so don't think that little Bobby's not thinking of you. Aside from being pretty busy, I'm pretty busy, I say. This is ridiculous. Anyway, aside from being fairly busy, hey, like that, huh? Good English. Fine speech. I am thinking about y'all, no doubt, as you do know, and though the letters may not be coming through for once in my life, it's not altogether my fault, because they are here, just as I got one here to Lois and Roy, which has never gotten off. I got one to Dot Dot, and I just got a letter from her today very sarcastically asking me how my broken arm is. And also one to Wilma, and one to the Barenbergs, which I haven't sent, and all sorts of them stacked up, which haven't been sent. One day in Alexander, which hadn't been sent. As I said, a couple to you folks. So I have a raft of letters, but they just haven't gone. I also have one started to Mary Catherine, but this one I have not finished as yet. Basically because it's no sense to finish it because it won't go out, and I'm utilizing the time otherwise. Number one, by making this tape for you right now. Well, let's see. If I remember right, I left you all in Pearl Harbor on tape. I don't believe I got an opportunity to put in while in Pearl. I did meet Mrs. The Barenbergs. I wrote you about that. They're just really wonderful people. I enjoy them so much, and they are so nice to me. The day before I left, Ms. Barenberg very kindly gave up the day and took me for a tour around the island, which was most interesting. We stopped at a very, very nice restaurant on the other side of the island, which would be over there you don't go by directions, you go by which side of the mountains you're on, because it is rather confusing, the direction in which the islands run. Anyway, it'd be on the northwestern side. Right, northwestern side of the island. Then we came around, and much to my how should I say it? You know how we show our stupidity, how easily we show it, and how often we show it, and how embarrassing it is when we do it. She took me by where they grew pineapples. God, I always thought pineapples grew on trees. I didn't know the damn things grew right out of the ground. All individual plants. This, to me, was most amazing, most interesting. Maybe you all know better, but if you don't, you can be embarrassed too. That darn things grow in individual plants out of the ground, of a plowed field. They have to pick them individually. It's very interesting to see it, and luckily enough, when we went by, they were harvesting some of them. I guess you'd call it harvesting anyway. They were picking them. They got a conveyor belt, I bet you it's 30, 40 feet long, which is supported by a truck. Truck drives down the rows, and this conveyor belt, oh, say about 3 feet off the ground, stretches out 20 or 30 odd feet from the truck, and the men who are picking chop them off with knives and take them and throw them on the conveyor belt, and then they are fed right back into the truck where they're stacked. Very, very interesting. Then she took me for the entire day, and I got back to the ship, and to tell you the truth, I hate to mention it, I've made an outline right now. It's another strange thing for me, but I'm getting all mixed up on what I did when and where we were when, so you'll have to bear with me. Anyway, we left Pearl Harbor. You should have the date. I try to trace it back in my letter so you have an approximation of dates, because we sort of lose track of them out here. But we did leave. Took about, if I remember correctly, the trip was an 8-day trip, 8.5-day trip by days, as you would know, but we crossed the international date line, which means that we lost a complete day or gained a day. All in all, the trip taking 7 or 7.5 days as opposed to 8, 8.5, being that when we went across the date, this is, you know, traveling westward, this is where everything begins, right there at the international date line and runs west. And so we got to the date line on, I've forgotten, it was Tuesday or Wednesday now. And at a certain time, when we passed the date line, it was just the same hour the next day. In other words, a 24-hour jump there. The loss of the day or the gain of the day, any way you may look at it. Anyway, all told, the trip was only about 7.5 days. Very interesting, and many good discussions, and everybody swearing it was the opposite way. We kept on going. We had planned to come straight across into Yokosuka, a more direct route than we took, but as it turned out, we steamed due west from the islands, went down south around the islands and steamed due west, because evidently this is quite a weather belt sitting up here off Japan this time of the year, one of the worst weather belts in the whole Pacific, from what I understand, and they're having a great deal of heavy weather. So we stayed south for quite a ways, and then cut north up into Yokosuka, being a little longer route but a more comfortable route. Naturally, without the heavy weather, we could make a little bit better time. When we started going north, believe me, we did get a little bit of sea. Of course, everybody says we haven't seen sea yet, but we had some. And even though this is a big bucket of bolts, the thing does roll and does pitch one way or another. That's how you know how big the water, or how big the waves are. You have no idea. You look out and look at them, they look real small and insignificant, but boy, when you start getting this thing rolling around, you know that it's big. Sometimes it gets so big that we actually take water over the bow of the ship, and you remember I told you the bow runs approximately 67.5 feet above the water line. So, what would that mean? It'd have to drop at least halfway before it would wash the water back up over. This is real rough weather. The weather stayed nice for us leaving Pearl Harbor there. It stayed nice all the way until about the day before we got into Japan itself. And one day, one evening, it was just cool and pleasant, and the next morning it was just colder than all get out. And man, when I say cold, you know cold. I'm beginning to think that I've been living in these warm climates for too long now, because actually it's just raw as the devil, and it goes right straight through you. And yes, I'm complaining, darn it, it was cold. So the day we got into the area Monday night, and we just steamed around waiting until Tuesday morning when we had our port time. And then we went on into Yokosuka and tied up. It's quite a place. Yokosuka, I believe it's the same place that Mr. Birch was when he was over here. He talked about all of the caverns and all being drilled in the mountains. Had this labyrinth subterranean deal there, cave work. Well, this is something you cannot possibly understand unless you see it yourself. The entire harbor there is surrounded by these what are hills actually, but they're pretty abrupt. They rise right up like small little mountains. I'd say about every 20 to 30 yards on every hill there's an entrance that goes back into cave work, a network of caves. Many of these have, since the war, been closed up. However, the main part of it is still in operation. We use it for office spaces now. From what information I've been able to get a hold of, this was their central intelligence center for radar and regular intelligence, everything that might go along with intelligence. This was their center. It's where they deciphered and plotted and planned all their acts through intelligence, or for intelligence, or by intelligence, however you may want it. Well, we tied up in Yokosuka, or I should say we sat outside and went up. We had what they call a flight deck parade, and you come in, everybody goes and musters up on the flight deck. And it was so cold that we just drifted away by portions at a time. We had a little snow flurries, and the fog was out, and everybody was blame cold. Then tying up, and later on in the day we got off the ship and went in to see the town. Now this Yokosuka is a place that's famous for Thieves' Alley. Thieves' Alley sits right outside of the Navy Yard there, or the Naval Station. This is quite a unique place. It's just several blocks of streets. Everything is like in Disneyland. It's in a miniature. And this is where all the thieves live. They have what they call, if I can remember, a one-price house, and then the bargaining houses. Everything that you go to buy, naturally you bargain for, and it's worse than a Jew's market on Saturday. However, there are houses in there, or shops in there, that have a big sign there when it says one-price house. Now, a one-price house is with just what it says. A one-price house is a one-price house. There's no haggling whatsoever. They have made or added their profit into it, like most of our stores we go to, and that's all they'll take. They won't sell for anything other than what's posted. I understand several years back that this entire area is made up of nothing but little shops with trinkets and everything that you see in the 5 and 10 cent store from Japan and more. Really some wonderful buys. It's terrible, this market. You feel like a crook and you want to buy everything you see, because they have many beautiful things and you don't know where to begin, and the price is so wonderful. Naturally you have to sort of limit yourself or you won't get anything in the end. But many of the shops have now been taken over by dives with, as they say, hostesses. Man, do I like hostesses. Anyway, it's more or less turned into a white hat area, which is a shame because they aren't controlled very closely, and it's where a lot of disease comes from. But if you ever wondered how it ever comes from any place, this is where you can find out, because I want to tell you, these girls are perfect living dolls. They're the cutest little things that ever walk down this street. And never let it be said, of course, it's known, as they say, Scotchy Chi-Chi, in other words, very small-chested. But though this may be true, you don't notice it because they are small girls, and what they have is, as a rule, is more than ample for their size. And this is, naturally you understand, this is what I've been told. They got the prettiest little hips and waist and rear ends and the nicest legs in this world. I must say, when I say this though, that the ones that have round legs have the roundest legs. Looks like they've been walking around fire plugs all their life or something. Anyway, we got to look at Thieves' Alley, and that was about it. I didn't get to do much more, as I explained in my letter, which you probably received already. week that we were in port, I was sort of tied up and didn't get off the ship too much to look around a shop. On the station here, they have what they call a building labeled A-33. Now this is a building where on board the station, it's been set up by the station, and the outside merchants bring in all their goods and retail here, the price being controlled by the service. And also, naturally, since these merchants are on government property, the wares are more or less guaranteed by the United States government or otherwise. Then the practices and the reliability and all, as opposed to going into shops where you don't know what you are getting. Well, you just simply die. It's not a real large place, but it's not small by any means. You'd die if you went in this place. They got, well, just beautiful binoculars, the best one made in Japan, and naturally the Japanese are known for the optics. And they have well, a camera display that just makes you want to drool. I'm as bad at cameras as I am with tools. I like just own them. And oh, you just can't imagine this stuff. Like a good reflex camera, well, the very finest on the market, and the one all professional photographers use for majority of their work, their favorite camera, every purpose camera, all-purpose camera, your Rolleiflex. Now your Rolleiflex automatic with a 2.8 lens, I believe, runs somewhere around $280 or $90 in the States. No, I guess it's somewhere in there with case, I think. 240. Yeah. And here in this store, no, that's not right, darn it. It must be over $300. And here in this store it runs $172. This will give you somewhat of an idea of the purchase you can get on it. And aside from that, they have all little light meters, and they have these strobe units, the automatic flashes where you don't have to put new bulbs in, which I'm going to try to get hold of next time we go back. They're really wonderful things. They're electronic deal with batteries, and they give you your flash and all. Or you can work them off AC current, but you don't have to be bothered with the expense and trouble of flash bulbs whenever you want to take a picture. Give a little bit better light too, I think, different light. And then they have all of glassware, which is very pretty glassware in your crystal designs, and then they have some crystal, and then they have many displays of china. Their prices, this is terrible too. This china, Narataki, I guess, is supposed to be about the best made over here. Now, it's real good china, there's no doubt about it, but it's not the finest in the world either. But it is good, and I am definitely planning on getting a set or two of it come home with. I found one that I liked very, very well. It'd be a real nice, good china, dress china, party china. I don't think it would compare with some of that stuff we have in the house, though. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't, but it's certainly something you'd be quite proud of. For a set, if I remember, a set of 93 pieces, this good china run around $62. Isn't that terrible? $62, $65, somewhere in there for a complete set, 92 or 3 pieces. And then they range, the quality ranges all the way down to the cheapest of the cheap, all the way up into their finest, which they have here in this area. I've been looking. I understand they have some nice bone china, and you know how I like bone china. This I haven't seen yet, so I'm going to shop around and see if I can't locate some somewhere. Then we go from, we have watches of every description and make, and they run about a third to a half a price, and they are really marvelous. Our watches, any watch in the world, as a matter of fact, any well-known watch. I mean, you run through your Hamiltons and your Longines Wittnauers and your good Elgins and Gruens and all, and then you run into your beautiful Omega Seamasters, which seems to have become the favorite watch of the service. along with your Zodiac, some more expensive, not too well-known watches, but excellent watches. And then they have some silks, however, I didn't see anything particularly on a silk display there that I liked. And some novelties. And pearls, just pearls galore. In this pearl section, they got a pearl stuck on any and everything you've ever imagined. Quite beautiful, and they sell for, I imagine, about one-third. I think things as a whole sell for about one-third the price they sell for in the States. That should give you some idea to go by. A tremendous saving. Then they have they have a beautiful club. I spent a great deal of time up there. They have a stag bar in the back of it, and they had a lot of fun. Go over there for a beer. Terrible, a beer costs the devils it costs. A big beer, I think it is, costs 20 cents or something. It's ridiculous, and a mixed drink costs 25 cents. These are straight prices. These aren't even happy hour prices. The only trouble is you go over there and start drinking, you can't yell that you're losing money. Terrible. Well, let's see, we put in on Tuesday, then, on Sunday, well, I guess it was Saturday, Tom asked me if I'd be interested in taking a trip. He has some friends over there. These folks are from his hometown. And they were going to take him on a trip and offered to take several others, so he asked me and he asked Schmitty, so the three of us went out, and we went down, I can't remember the name of the place. If you look on your map there, it's down the peninsula from Yokosuka. Went down, they used to have a large aquarium there, I guess the University of Tokyo or something of that sort ran it, and a biological laboratory, not biological, but fishery laboratory or something, I don't know exactly what it was. Anyway, it's closed now, but they have a beautiful beach. Also, this is outside this town, pardon me, it's about 5-10 miles away. This town we went to starts with M. I can't remember it. It's a fishing, well, I say a little fishing village. It is a small town, but it's quite a fishing port. And then the ships come in from thousands of miles away and drop their fish. Well, I've never seen so many fish and such big fish in all my life. They're down there just cold as blue blazes again. But they are dragging these tuna out, and those doggone things are huge. They ran a couple 100 pounds, and just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. You see well, how can I say, the way that they do it, where they haven't been completely industrialized as yet. Each fish is handled individually instead of being hoisted out in big nets or large boxes or anything of that sort. They slide them along the floor and all. Then they get the crates and crate them up. Very, very interesting. Walked around this town. Since it's a town off the beaten path, you got a chance to see the normal living of the people more. They saw their own little shops and walked back in all the nooks and crannies and had a most enjoyable day. Then Monday, we put this Monday, yeah, we left Monday morning. The weather remained cold and pretty miserable, and then low clouds and heavy fog, so we didn't get very much flying. About this time I caught myself a cold, more or less a little bug, and nothing bad, just what's been going around. Sort of strange for me since I've been sort of lucky without colds, though. So I got myself grounded and took care of 1,001 other things that had come up around the ship. I think the boys, maybe for the week that we were out, the boys maybe flew one day in that whole week, possibly two. I don't know. Well, possibly two, I'd say. That's all. We stayed out Monday through the following Monday, and then we came back in to Yokosuka and tied up again. This time I got a little bit more time to go out, not too much, but a little bit more. I got over and saw A33 for the first time this time we were in. I also got over to the exchange. Their exchange carries many of the same items as A33. And it's a huge place. They have a big clothing store all by itself, and they have their Oh, they have everything. They have watch repair. You go in for a crystal and they'll do it, and it takes just about 3 or 4 minutes while it's changed, and something like 35 cents to have it done. They have shoe repair and all. Then they have a big merchandising store where they also have china and cameras and bicycles and sports equipment and hunting gear and oh, I don't know if I said watches or not, and your microscopes and binoculars and so on and so forth. Got a real good chance to run around there and see that and start pricing things, getting an idea how prices run. Then Wednesday was the LSO party. LSO once again being, yeah, hi Johnny. LSO once again being your landing signal officer, the fellow that works the mirror or works the paddles when we're landing. We have a fine system we set up when we were just starting to learn fly carrier passes when we were back at Moffett. That was anytime you forgot your wheels or forget your hook on a pass or forget your flaps, or, well, those are the three critical things. They charge you a fine. It's usually $5 for each thing you do. The LSOs collect this and they keep it, and then over here in Japan they take it and they give a big party for the entire air group. So by this time they had accumulated somewhere around $350, and so we had a big blowout up at the officers club. Real nice party, all kinds of, well, more than hors d'oeuvres really. It wasn't a served dinner, but they had everything from meatballs to turkey to on down to regular hors d'oeuvres. And spaghetti, all kinds of goodies. Plus all you could drink for the entire time of the party. Then the LSOs got up there and read off who donated, who actually were the sponsors of the party, or the hosts of the party, and naturally jiving everybody and giving everybody a hard time for the silly mistakes they'd done, all in good faith and a lot of fun. Then Thursday night we had a wet and down party for a lot of the fellows in the squadron who had made JG but never come through with their wet and down party. This was months before we even left Moffett Field. So the gang in Ready 5, the big old black gang, with Tom, we went out to a place called Komatsu's, which is a real nice restaurant party place out in the town. We were sitting there and we decided over a few drinks that doggone if they weren't going to give the party and take any initiative on this thing, we'd just set a party up. And then we'd tell them that we'd made all the arrangements for the party and all, and if they were too chicken, we'd pay for it ourselves, but we figured we could embarrass them into giving it. So this is just what we did. We set up a big party the week before when we were in, and just took the guys and asked them if they were going to pay for it. They were going to hold out, and we'd end up paying for it. No matter how it worked, we were going to have a party. Well, sure enough, they paid for it. And at this party, we had a bunch of geisha girls who gave dances, and we had a steak dinner and had all the drinks we could take, and it was very interesting, the regular formal style thing, and just a lot of fun, playing silly games and all. Just had ourselves a real grand time. This was in a place, Mother, where you sit down on mats with your table that you were asking me about, as most of the places are. And they don't, these places are very few. I think I've been in 2 or 3 places since I've been here are heated. They have what they call the old hibachi pot, in which you take from room to room where you are. You actually don't carry it, you light the one in the room. Then you sit around. The idea being naturally leave your shoes outside, so you put your feet up against them or get close to it. Some of the places have a nice innovation, which is the table sitting low on the floor, and then from the table they have all the way around the edge of the table you have this blanket, and you sit down as if you're in a chair, for there's a pit under the table, and then the hibachi pot's down the pit, but you're sitting is a lot more comfortable and resting on your haunches or sitting on your ankles, as may be. Then that party was a real gooder. Finally on this one got the skipper in a hot sea bath, which is just tickle you to death. These hot sea baths are alright, you let me tell you. I'm sorry I forgot your matchbook cover, but I'll when we go back to Cusco, I'll pick up another one and mail it on to you if I remember. You remind me, and I'll try to take care of this first thing. These hot sea baths, let's see, how's tape's getting low, but maybe I can get on. These hot sea baths, one real nice place to go is the Grand Palace. Of course, they're given in a lot of different ways, but the legit way here at the Grand Palace is just a big hot sea bath place. You go and they have a little bar and you get a drink, and for 600 yen, as I told you, being your conversion being 300 and what? Yeah, 360 yen to $1. You get yourself a little girly son and toddle off upstairs to a room, her private room, and you go in the room and you undress there and wrap a towel around you, and yeah, she's there, mother. She's right there helping you all the way. As a matter of fact, she puts the towel around you, and you go on down below, the next floor down, and here they have these bathrooms. Maybe 3 operators. I have 3 men there at a time, and you have a steam cabinet. You get in a steam to do this, but it's time to go and watch. Nothing like flying all day and then having to watch. I'm a flight officer over, and I'm the integrity watch officer tonight from 8 to 12, and so it's about that time. So I'll sign off and pick up another time soon. Bye now. Now, I must admit, I don't know exactly where I am here. I'm just starting again. It's Wednesday around 11 o'clock. It's just about time for chow. So, since the weather is against us once again today, we're standing by to see how flight ops are going. Also, I wasn't to fly until this afternoon, until night. Along with this, I very nicely get screwed again by my buddy boy in charge of this deal, and I'm trial counsel on one of the court martials. Trial counsel, as you know, is the worst thing in the world for me to be, because I've been known for defense of these men all the way along. Now here I'm stuck with a trial. I have to handle a court martial. It's a pain in the rear end anyway. And on top of that was supposed to be legal officers take over, and I supposedly had been relieved from legal officer, as I was promised to have been 1 year ago, and never had it come through. Skipper backed down every time. Well, anyway, I supposed I was relieved, but they never told me until this went through, and I went up and tried to fight it, and they said, well, we didn't want legal officers after all, so there it is. A new guy, when he does take over from me, won't be the trial, and I'll have to bother this legal stuff some more. They made me trial counsel, and I'm on a case, and I don't believe in it. I think they're trying to railroad the guy. Evidently, it's a big deal aboard the ship. I don't even know how to start. If I was defense, I have a perfect defense. As soon as I heard about it, I thought up all kinds of defense for the poor kid. And here I am trial. I had to stand up there and prosecute him. I don't believe in it. I don't like it. I despise this damn law, as I've always told you I despise it. And needless to say, I'm doing everything in my power to put the thing off. I'm just putting, and I can't get to it, and I don't like it, and I hate it, and I don't want to do it. How's that? Terrible, huh? Well, anyway, the deadline's come, so I finally got my flight time all up and all, having had a long flight the other day I'll tell you about. And so I told Jack, who is now the new schedules officer, told him to leave me off the next couple of days so I could get this thing ready to go and find out what I have to do, which I don't know. So Jack had the schedule all set up ready to go, and the skipper went to check it last night, and he said, negative, Ehrman will fly. So I have a 5-hour hop schedule for tonight. Don't know exactly what to do. You have to have the time to do this stuff, and if he's the one that's going to screw me with the deal, he's going to have to stand by, and I'm just not going to fly. That's all there is to it. But I talked to the legal officer on board ship, and it seems though we can put it off another day, and that way I'll have plenty of time when I get together with this legal officer to get things worked up, I imagine. Now let's go back. It seems to me as though I had us in Yokosuka, if I remember correctly. I'd run you through the A33 and the club and the exchange and the Little Liberty, and I believe I told you about the Sunday trip, with these friends of Tom's. They were a couple just about your age from Tom's hometown. They're really quite a cute couple, actually. He's getting, well, I should say you all are actually much younger than they, but by age it'd be about the same. He's getting a little old and feeble, but he has a real sharp wit. And she's one of these true big roly-poly southern mamas. And she just talks on in her little southern accent a mile a minute. It's just a whole world of fun. We had a real nice day and saw quite a bit, as I told you. Then we went back to sea. And we came in, that's right, I told you about the LSO party. And about the wet and down party. By the way, on all of this, I'm not going into detail on this stuff. I think you know why. Sometime we get together I can tie in all details for you. But please don't even make mention in any of your letters of any of these parties or of anything. These wives sitting out there, little words come back and all of a sudden, boy, they have a crisis on their hands. So please don't mention any of the parties or any of the little to-doings I may say. Any details that will come when I come on home. There's not that there's anything wrong, because there isn't anything wrong, but it's just that one little word can grow so viciously, and especially when the men are away so long and all the wives sitting at home and maybe they feel low or something, and just a little something can upset them when there's no need for them to be upset at all. Well, after those parties, we went back to sea. Now, if I remember correctly, we set sail on Saturday. And, right, we set sail on Saturday, and we had flight ops on Sunday. Really funny. The Lord's Day. Even the chaplains are having trouble around here. What they're doing, we go in ports during the week, and then we go to sea on Saturday, and so we get a 7-day work day in. If you're in port, they couldn't very well make you work on Sunday. But when you're at sea, there's a good day. You get so little flying anyway, there's no reason why you shouldn't work, and so that's what happens. Every now and then the good Lord comes our way and gives us bad weather on Sunday, though, and cheats them out of their flight ops. So we set to sea, and let me see, this was the week. Yeah, I think this is the week that we headed on down to Kobe. We had very light flight ops. As a matter of fact, I hadn't flown myself from the time I was in Pearl because I caught myself a bug out here. And strange it may seem for me, I just couldn't shake the son of a gun. Nothing real bad. I think I had a little touch of flu and something else mixed into it. As a matter of fact, about 3/4 of the ship was down with it. Had some trouble with the ventilation system and heating system on board ship here, and it was real cold in Yokosuka. We'd be sleeping here in a room with the heat on, and it'd be real comfortable, one blanket, and you wake up in the middle of the night and your heating system was blowing nothing but ice cold air in, and of course you get cold, and you'd be sweating in bed, and then you get cold, and so generally the weather wasn't conducive to good health. They got this system going now, and we all are all well. So I didn't fly all the way from there over. I don't think I missed more than 2 or 3 days of flight ops all told, though. But it was a long time not being in a plane, about 5 weeks. We got to just outside of Kobe, which is south, as you'll see on your maps there. And I finally got launched on a long, low-level hop. That was a real... No, I didn't get launched on that low-level hop. Pardon me, I got launched on a short hop. Yeah. And so I got 1.6 and got a little familiar with the airplane again. And then we went in Kobe on Thursday. Now Kobe is considerably different than Yokosuka. I never explained Yokosuka to you completely. It's not real clean, and it is rather ramshackle actually. It's a fair-sized town. The stores, as I told you, are very interesting and all. The girls there don't speak English as well as they do down here in the south. But I think they're more cute girls up there in the north. And as I told you, Mother, they are cute. They're real sweeties. So easy to get along with. Something that's outstanding about them is that they sit with you for about, maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and they have your mood completely, and then they completely adapt themselves to the people that they're with. Something unheard of in the States, where a woman sets up what the male is going to have to adapt himself to. It's very, very pleasant and real enjoyable. They're good company, a lot of fun. They have a lot of silly games and things, and I don't know, they're just real enjoyable individuals to be around. You can relax around them instead of feeling as though you leave work and then have to go out and mentally compete again. This way you just relax and enjoy good company. Anyway, we got in Kobe, and Kobe is a very large city, actually. I understand that the city itself and surrounding community area has a population somewhere around 1 million. They have several new buildings there that are, well, they're quite modern and quite beautiful. They're department stores. They're just like ours. Have everything in the world and perfectly what should I say? They just have real nice service and very attractive stores, not only outside and inside, and a great deal of good merchandise. The prices down in Kobe, being a larger city, just as in the States, are a little bit higher than they were up in Yokosuka. We don't have the they don't have the real nice clubs that they had in Yokosuka, where we could run around and have our evenings of fun, but they do have they had an English bar, King's Arms, that we all went to. Some Englishmen came over and started, and it was very it was a regular, like a old limey bar room there, or pub, and they had their beer and all, and we'd sit there, and they had very nice steaks. We'd sit there and have beer, play darts, and sing. They had a piano, and all sit around and sing and make fun of one another from one squadron to another, and just thoroughly enjoy an evening. We only remained in Kobe for remained until Sunday, and then Sunday morning we put to sea again. Now, where am I? I'm really getting confused on this recording. I'm fighting time a bit. Oh yeah, I never finished the hot sea bath. I think that was right on the end. The hot sea bath had the girl with a towel around you. Well, you go on down, and you get down into your room, and in your room, in the washroom there, they have a shower. It's all tiled and real nice, and you go and they have several steam cabinets. And they have a shower and a bathtub, which is sunken in the floor. And so the first thing you do is you climb into the steam bath, and which is a steam cabinet like we have in the States, and you sit there and you cook and cook and cook and cook, and you make wise remarks to the other guys in there. And then after you've cooked long enough, you get out, and they soap you up real good, and she scrubs your back with a nice brush, and all, it feels real good. And then you get all soaped up, and then they have this hot bath, and you climb into the hot bath, sit there and soak for a while longer, and then you get out, and then they have a hot or cold shower, whichever you like, and you climb under the shower. Then you dry yourself off real well, with a little help. And then you go back up to the room where you place yourself upon the rack there, and you stretch out on the bed, and she gives you a real nice massage, which all in all the whole operation lasts about an hour, hour and a half, depending upon the girl, depending upon the rush, and depending on how you get along with her. You can have some real nice discussions with these girls. Most of them are fairly intelligent girls who are just earning some money, biding time until they get married, or some of them are university students who are making a little money on the side, or high school students, college students. They're a different class girl normally than what you run into working these places. They're real nice kids, all in all. Then you go on back down, have a drink, and wait for the boys to come down. You usually see one another in the shower, and everybody's screaming and hollering back and forth between the rooms, so you have a lot of fun. Now we'll go back to Kobe. Oh, I told you before we go back to Kobe, I told you the other kind of hot sea baths. The other type of hot sea baths are where you go in and they just have a tub, and say some of the houses, and you pick out your little girl son, and it's just like a brothel any place. They have a bar downstairs, a little dance floor and music, and you pick out the girl you want, and then it all goes in for different prices. You have they call Scotch time, which is short time, or You can get an all-nighter if you want to, or you can get a Scotch time with a hot sea bath, or an all-nighter with a hot sea bath, with your prices running completely different. And these hot sea baths, though, and they undress you, they not only scrub you, they scrub you completely instead of you taking care of part of it for them. And then you jump into the tub, and they just strip everything they all have on, and they jump to the tub with you. I understand this is good. This one I haven't tried yet, and that's not just for this tape. I actually haven't. Not too interested, to be truthful. Now we'll go back to Kobe. We had this party at the King's Arm, as I told you, and we checked out several other places. Got into a cab, and boy, you talk about crazy people. These cabs are the craziest things in this world. I tell you, we were sitting in this cab and going down these little alleys at 67 kilometers, which is, or kilometers, however you want to say it, which is really traveling. They just sit and lay on the horn. Of course, they drive on the wrong side of the street anyway, and you're tearing their carts and everything on there, tearing down the street. And so this one I was in the other night, one of the other guys started yelling, Hayako, Hayako, which means fast, quick, hurry up, and all. And we were just yelling it out of something to say. He was in the front seat, and this guy turns to him, the driver turns to him, he's a real funny kid, and turns to him and says, "What's wrong with you?" You know, and the guy comes out and says, "I'm scared." "What do you mean, I'm scared?" And the guy says, "Oh, you scared? Me scared too." And so we all got a big laugh out of it. This is the general attitude of these people, very light and easy and happy, go lucky more or less. So we left Kobe on Sunday morning and came to sea. We were to remain at sea for 11 days and then going down into Subic Bay down in the Philippines. However, there's been a change just came through yesterday. It looks as though we're going to go back in Yokosuka. I understand when we're at Subic Bay normally, when there's work to be done at the ship, they take it into the yards there and work on it. Well, of course, the Philippines are not a desirable place. They got headhunters down there and all kinds of things. The strange thing about it, which is a real kick, they have seasons on headhunting. Of all the damn things they have seasons on. But now I don't know if we'll be going to the Philippines or not. We're going back to Yokosuka. Many guys feel this is real good in a way. The only thing is they don't know if they can take it physically, not only from the drink but from the women. Others are worried about financially with the drink and the women, and the others are quite delighted because Yokosuka, I think, is one of the nicer places for a good time, for all of us putting in. We can just have a real ball there. But we should be there for about a week. There's been some talk about offloading the squadrons and going over to Atsugi, which is an air station nearby, working off the beach, but it looks as though we won't. So we should have a week to catch up on a lot of paperwork and go to 1001 all-pilot meetings and talk about nothing and waste time. But we should get some time to do some shopping. I haven't done any real shopping, as I told you before. I haven't purchased anything yet. But think that this time when I go in, I'll start getting some definite price lists and all, and see what I can pick up on the schedule I've worked out. No. Oh, just before we put into Kobe, I had that short hop. Then after we left Kobe, Sunday, well, let's see, today's Wednesday. Monday, they had some low-level hops right off the tip of the lower island there on Japan. It would be, if you want to check just where we were, the exact spot we left from was 31 degrees north and 30 degrees north and 131 degrees, what's the latitude here? East, I guess. Yeah. Oh, that's right. 30 and 131. So that's just where that was our ship's position. So that's where we left from. I don't have my maps right here, so I can't tell you the name of all the places we went, but this was to practice low-level flight over water, making landfalls without any navigation gear, just working, judging your own winds and all. So we started on a course from that PIM, or position of the ship, started on a course and flew in a general southerly direction. I believe our heading was, let me see, Our general heading was 216. Now his magnetic heading, the variation is 4 degrees, and so therefore our true heading, our actual course we made true, was 212 degrees. We went on down 187 miles down to that island down there, as you're following your map down. And then from there we cut right straight on down. I think our heading went to 230 magnetic, which would be about 226 true. Went on down, made a landfall on Okinawa. And we flew all around Okinawa and checked it all out. Went on down to the southern part there where the nice fields are. Then we cut back up and headed up the islands. And we just hit one island after another island. All those little islands there. We just flew from one to another on up to those 3 big volcanoes you'll see right in a row. About 100 miles up. We climbed up and we looked down into them. Here I expected to see a great big hole. Oh, there's steam and everything coming out of these volcanoes. You ought to have seen them. And here I expected to see molten lava, and I had all kinds of pictures of the priest standing up on top throwing a slave girl to the gods and all. I got up there and, geez, the crater was there, but everything was solid in the crater except these little tiny fissures where all the steam came billowing out. Really let down, but it was most interesting. And we flew on back up, all the way up that island group, straight on up until you see that last elongated island right off of the southern part of Japan there. And we flew around that, made a real low-level hop right down around 25 to 50 feet, flying in and out in perfectly beautiful beaches. The beaches just as beautiful as they can be, in rock formations with little natural bridges and holes and caverns going back in. These people, the movies don't kid, these people actually live in those thatch-roofed huts, and they have these little boats, and they go miles and miles out to sea. They row the darn things just miles and miles out to sea. And they do their fishing and come in. It was very interesting and a beautiful hop. A long one though, my tail's a little sore. Ran about 5.5 hours all told. And then yesterday, what did we do yesterday of interest? Oh, yesterday we just had a short hop all around yesterday was bad weather, and so they sent us out on a weather reco, and we launched. Naturally, the ADs are doing all the work. We finally gotten beyond jet pilots. They don't give us a hard time anymore because they're starting to realize who does the work. They've had some trouble with the airplanes, the jet planes, nothing dangerous, but they're all grounded until they get new parts. And 2 of the jet squadrons, one has 2 planes up and the other has 4 planes up that they can fly. And Patty's squadron, they've done next to no flying until just several days ago, and they got up and they're starting to fly right along with us now. They got quite a few hours in the other day, as a matter of fact, for our jet squadron. I'd say we've probably done, on board ship, we've probably done 40% of the flying ourselves. So the guys just don't ride us too much anymore, and there's a mission to be done, we do it, and we're just thoroughly enjoying it and rubbing it in as hard as we can after taking it for a couple of years. So we went out on a weather flight. I sent 2 Banjos, Pat's type airplane, and about 8 or 10 of us off, and we flew around and reported back to ship. The clouds were down around 500 feet, and sometimes the visibility in rainstorms went down to about next to nothing. And trying to find locate a good hole where we could carry on ops, and came on back aboard. It's only an hour and a half hop, and really enjoyable. Got a big kick out. Of course, I was flying Tom Shipes, and as far as all is concerned, he's just the greatest damn pilot there is. Pardon me. He is so smooth and so sharp in that airplane, just cool and calm, and flies the smoothest airplane, lead you'd ever want to follow, and he's always right on the ball. He knows exactly what's happening, when it's happening, exactly how to take care of it. And you talk about Dad and me having horse sense. Well, this guy, when it comes to navigation, I think he's the one that invented it. Everybody gets mixed up and confused, and Tom says, well, I feel I ought to turn here, and we turn, boy, and he hits it right on the nose every doggone time without fail. Today, as I told you, we're waiting. The weather's bad again, so I don't know if they have some guys sitting in a plane for another weather reco. I don't know if we'll go or not. I hope it stays bad so I won't have to fly this night hop and can get on this court-martial. The tape's getting low here. I wanted to run into some other things. Oh, while we were in Kobe Saturday, we had a tour. It went up to Takaraska. That's pronounced Takaraska and spelled Takaraska. Takazuka, Takarazuka. This is the big recreational town. It sits around 20 or 40 miles from Kobe. This is James Michener brought it about. Well, the knowledge of it, general knowledge of it about. It's where they had that famous troupe of women actors. They're trained the women play the male and the female roles. They had this big, big theater there. They put on these different reviews. They are actually they're just excellent. And I've never seen any staging effects anywhere that could come close to matching this. The lighting effects and the stage has all kinds of elevators, and they go up and go down, maybe about 8 of them. Things come piling up from the bottom, they come down from the top, and they ride up above the stage level and down below. It's just fascinating to see it, and something that anybody ever comes to Japan would be a fool to miss. It's just absolutely marvelous. The girls are wonderful, wonderful actresses, and reading James Michener's books, I never thought that I'd be able to stand a woman playing a man's part, but after you're in there about 10 or 15 minutes, you forget they are women. They do such an excellent job. They have they play it in the modern. They have fantasies, and then they have modernistic adaptations of different plays and musicals and anything you want. We happened to see a musical fantasy the other day, and also a little drama. It lasted the show. They had 2 complete shows, and it lasted for a total of about 4 hours and 10 minutes. Quite a show, quite a bit for your money. Most interesting. Well, let's see. I got your tape yesterday. I sat down and listened to it last night, and it was nice. There's nothing like these tapes. There's no doubt about it. It was wonderful to sit down and hear the voices and the chats. I had to chuckle though. You son of a guns! Now, when you're taping this thing, just think you have a telephone. You're talking to me. I sat here wondering whether Daddy had written it out. Every word, can, not, and do not, no contractions at all. Just sit down and blow away at me. But it was real wonderful. Both of you sounded real swell and real swell. That's good, huh? Both of you sounded well and sounded good all the way around. I sure enjoyed it. Now, I must say, Dad, that as far as I'm concerned, I have my birthday present. Playing that piano for me, I sat here like a damn baby, dripping all over the place. That just, of course, it's something I've loved ever since I was quite young, and it choked me up. Well, thanks, is all I can say. That's one of the nicest things that's happened in a long, long time to me. Seems though I'm full of these nice things, but happening to me, but that really was wonderful, and I appreciate it more than I'll ever be able to tell you. I thank you. Oh, that church paper that you asked me about and having the spiel. I just received my little church paper yesterday. It was for, I think it had January and February up in the top, but evidently this isn't the one because it didn't have the article in there that you were telling me about. So if this one's that late, and the one I received is that late, about another couple of weeks I should receive the other. I wish you would tell them, though, that I changed my address at Christmas when I was there to FPO, but they're still sending it to Moffat, and so that entails a little bit more of a tie-up for the mail getting out here. And I had some other things I wanted. Oh, on that weather, I was telling you about that bad weather. We had winds out here. This is the bad weather when we were at sea, you understand. But we had winds out here. They're up to 60 knots. Gosh, at home we'd think that was a hurricane or something, but the old boat rode right through it like nobody's business. Now, good man, Herb. I have a few more things. Oh, thanks to you, Toots, for getting that balance all squared away for me. In case this arrives before my letter does, I have a $35 check that you can take off of my balance. I sent it to Dot Dot for putting a rear window in. Gosh, that kid sure done a wonderful job on my car. I'll never even know, baby, when I get back. She scrubbed the upholstery. She's cleaned out the inside. She's washed and waxed her. She's put the rear window in. She got me a tire. And the other day she wrote and said that she was taking the rust off. Baby will be shining and smiling when I finally get home. And she really tickled me to death because in the letter she comes back and says she's going to have to put her own car in a shop, and she was wondering whether I would mind if she drove Baby. Gosh, I thought that was the agreement when I left her there. Well, anyway, it's sure makes you feel good when you have something that valuable and it means that much to you, and you leave it with someone, and then they take such excellent care of it. It takes a lot of pressure off of you. Where can I go from here? I keep looking at the tape and see it's about out, and I don't know what to go into. I think I've covered everything that's been happening over here pretty well. I sure hope all of you are well. I'm certainly sorry to hear that Mary Kay was so sick. Oh, I got a, when you get Lloyd and Margaret's address, new address, please send it to me. I got a real nice letter from them, but I don't know their address, and the new address, and I've been holding the one I've written for them until I receive that letter, so I'm hoping it'll come through soon. I have no idea. Jocko comes in here with a big sandwich for me. What do you think about that? Thanks, Big Jock. Ooh, boy, that looks good. Evidently, Big Fat Margie's doing real well. I got a kick. Jack got some pictures from Margie showing how fat she was now, just fat as can be. Said she had one taken from the side showing how fat she was, and they wouldn't even print the darn thing. We all got a big kick out of that. Just fatter than ever. Donzy's gotten back from being at home, and he's running around here. The room was sort of empty for a while there without him raising a lot of dough, but he's running around correcting all of us since we got led astray while he is away, not to be here. So with this schedule change, it looks as though we're going to remain out at sea here until I think about the 19th, when we're going to put in to Yokosuka. So that looks like on my big birthday that we're going to have a real blast. We're planning on going out and have a big party. So we should be on the beach, and if we don't have the duty that day, we should be able to have a nice party. Don't you go worrying about sending me a birthday cake or anything. The macaroons will be just as good, and I naturally know the thought's all there. Well, there goes the telephone. I best get to see you in a moment. Well, they wanted Donzy to fly, and so here I am back again with looks like I still got another minute or so left here on the tape. When you see everybody, I sure hope you'll give them my best. Oh, another thing too, in case this beats the letter, please send me Mr. and Ms. Barenberg's address. Thank you. No, I'm going to send it in care of Kodak, Hawaii, so I can get it off. As I explained in the letter, I think I know what the address is, but I'm not sure, and so I'd appreciate if you'd send a straight one to me. And please thank Mrs. Dean for her letter. I sure did enjoy it. It sure was sweet of her to sit down there and write to me, and I enjoyed every single solitary word of it, and I do want to get a note off to them. Also, write the Fowlers for me when you write them next, and tell them thanks for those goodies that they sent me. I'm quite embarrassed. I forgot. I got up before I left, and we sat and ate it, and we were in the all the throes of moving, and I left, and I forgot clean about it. How bad can you be, huh? So if you give a word, and I am going to try to get a note off to them. I haven't had a chance yet to get the stamps. But what I figure I'll do, I'll